Hi there! Today I am hosting Jitsi on a VPS. Jitsi is an open source video conferencing software for desktop and mobile. One of its coolest features is that you don't need its app to jump into a conversation. Just a link that you can paste in any web browser, on any device. So it reduces friction when you have to deal with peers that don't have the time, the patience, nor the necessary skills to go beyond web browsers. Okay. This is going to be very easy. In part 1, I will get a domain name, for free, from a DNS hosting service provider. In part 2, I will set up the VPS with Ubuntu server. In part 3, I will install Jitsi. In part 4, I will enable password authentication, so that only I can start conversations on my server. And in part 5, I will protect the server from login brute force attacks. Let's go! There's many free DNS hosting services. I will go with dsec.io. Create account. Provide a single-purpose email. Register a new domain. I will call it Jitsi. Follow the link sent to your email. I don't need this authorization token for what I'm doing today, but I advise you to save it. Create a password for your account. Follow the new link sent to your email. And provide a strong password. Now you can log in. That's my host name. jitsi.dedin.io. I will create a new Type A DNS record. Just specify the IP address of your VPS. Great! I already have a domain name for my server. Now I will go to my VPS service provider, and install from scratch, Ubuntu server. I will write my host name. And add my SSH public key. I will log into my server and upgrade. I will create the user, Jitsi. Make it a member of the sudo group, and gave it SSH access to the server. Now, some SSH hardening procedures. Disallow, root, login. Allow only the user, Jitsi, to SSH. Disable password authentication. Allow incoming connections, only to the default SSH port, 22. Install, fail to ban. To protect SSH from brute force attacks. I will tweak its configuration file and lower the requirements for a malicious host to get banned. Reboot. And try the new SSH configuration. The server is ready. Both the domain name and the fully qualified domain name are properly set in my server. If you remember, my VPS service provider did this for me when I installed Ubuntu server. You can set these manually, editing the files, hostname, and hosts. Before moving on, make sure that your DNS record has propagated throughout the internet. If you get the wrong IP, or not IP at all, wait for it. So let's install all the packages. The following commands are included below, in the description section. Adding some sources. For Prosody, and Jitsi. Now update. You need to add the following firewall rules. Install Jitsi Meet. Write your host name. Read that and click OK. We will get a free Let's Encrypt SSL certificate in a minute. This script will generate a free Let's Encrypt certificate for us. You only need to add an email. Or not. Finished. Jitsi should already be running on my server. Let's start our first meeting. It works. If I want to invite someone to join this video call, I only have to share a link, which is my host name, / and the name of this meeting. Another way of using Jitsi is by downloading the app. In Settings, I specify the host name of the server. And from then on, I only deal with meeting names. Either to start one, or to join an existing one. Again. It works. You will have noticed that I wasn't asked for any credentials to start a meeting. As things stand now, anyone that knows about my server can use it to start their own video calls. Let's fix that. Edit the Prosody configuration file for our server. Change the Authentication field. Add these lines after the previous virtual host. Write your host name. Now, some edits in Jitsi itself. Add this line. Finally, the jitsi configuration file. Add the following lines. Watch those curly brackets. This next command creates the user and password in Prosody. From now on, you will need these credentials to initiate a video call. Even though I get an error, the user has been registered correctly. If you want to get rid of this error, there's a couple of known fixes. You can Google it if you want. Restart Prosody, Jikofo, and Jitsi. And let's try again. Now I cannot start a meeting without authenticating first. I am in. Let's see what happens if someone else tries to start their own video call. They cannot start their own meeting. But the cool thing is, that they can join an existing one, as long as it has been authenticated, and they know the link, or the name of the room. There isn't a default jail and fail to ban for Jitsi. So we will have to create our own. Prosody is the service that manages authentication, so that will be our target. When we're done, we'll have a working jail for Prosody, next to the one for SSH. Run these 3 commands. And now edit the Prosody configuration file, and search for modules_enabled. Add this single line. Restart Prosody. Now create a configuration file for Prosody and fail to ban. And finally add a jail for Prosody. I will place it just after the SSH jail. Notice that a host will go to jail after 5 failed attempts. You can lower that number if you want. Restart fail to ban. And list your jails. So let's test it. I am going to follow the fail to ban logs for my server, while I try to log in from another IP. Remember it. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, to jail. Notice that on further attempts, the mobile is stuck on connecting, its IP has been banned by the server. Imagine having to register an account to make a video call. Until next time.